Hi there, how are you doing? Good to see you again. So, Miss Cheryl told me you've been looking at the caves of Lascaux and all the great animal art there. And so I thought for today that we'd look at the bulls and work on drawing this bull. So grab your paper and pencil and start out. I'm going to go ahead and use the black pins so you can see it really well. But you can just go ahead and use your paper and pencil. So you're going to start by drawing a big circle right in the middle. Not too big. This is going to be kind of the shoulders and body of your bull. And then behind it, you're going to draw a circle that's a little bit smaller. That's too small. I'm going to draw it a little bit bigger, like that. And then over here is his head, and I'm going to draw a pear shape with the skinny end of the pear facing down, and that is going to be his mouth. So kind of a big pear shape there with the skinny end pointing down. Now some of these lines you can go back at the end and erase. All right, so now you're going to kind of connect these, and then that's going to make your bowl. So we're going to connect that one to that, the pear up to the big circle, and leave a little dip. That's going to be the top of his neck. And then connect these two with a downward arch. And then connect these right here with an upward arch. And now you can kind of already start to see your bull coming together. And here we're going to connect these two. And on the bottom of his neck is kind of shaggy, so we're going to add it, make it kind of a jaggedy line there for his shagginess. And now we're going to draw in his legs. So back leg over here, it's just going to kind of come down from the back of that circle. It's going to go at a little bit of an arch out and then down like that. And the other side of that leg, and a line going down and meeting on the other side. And then at the bottom, he's got a hoof right there. Now his other leg is on the other side of him, so we're not going to see the top of it, but it's going to come down just behind that area over there. So right there where it goes up the furthest, this leg is going to come down. So it's going to come down backward like that. And now see where this hoof comes down? That second back leg is going to be up from there a little bit. So I'm going to just make a mark, a little mark, where that back leg is going to end. So I've drawn that leg down, and then the back leg is going to go in and stop right at that mark. Now going back up here to the top, I'm going to make another line for that second back leg, and then the line going down and end with a hoof right there. All right, now the front legs. So right here behind the neck, I'm going to draw an arched line like that. And that's going to be his shoulder. And then down from the shoulder, I'm going to draw that front leg. It comes down at an angle and then goes back at another angle. Then I'm going to come back in and just draw in the other side of that leg like that. Then at the bottom is his hoof. So this front leg goes in front. So you can go back and erase that line right there because you don't need that line. And the same thing for that line there. You can go erase that. Actually, I'll just kind of scribble it out with pencil. You can erase that line, and you can erase that line, and you can actually erase these two lines in the middle where those circles cross. like that. So where I've scribbled out in pencil, you can erase those lines. Now doing his second front leg, and it goes down behind him. You're going to start right there on his chest and then go down just a straight line, not too much detail, but we're going to end that foot a little bit above this front, where that front foot hoof ends. So we're going to go up. I made my line a little too long. That's okay. I can go back and erase it. And make the hoof going out like that. And then just the other side of his leg. Not worrying about too much detail on those second legs. Now I'm going to go in and add in some details on his face. I am going to add in about halfway down, I'm going to add in his eye. So from the top to bottom, about halfway down, I'm going to draw his eye. Almost like a human eye, but a little bit more roundy. So maybe kind of like a almond shape. And then darken in the middle of his eye there. And then I'm going to draw his mouth. And maybe he's smiling. Maybe he's a happy bull. And his ear is going to go up from his eye and to the right. And the ear again is kind of like a leaf shape. Kind of arched on the bottom, arched on the top. Now I'm going to make the horn that comes out. So to make his horn, right up here at the top of his head, I'm going to draw a little arch like that. And then on the back of this arch, I'm going to bring it down and around and forward and out. And then that's going to be the bottom of his horn. Then I'm going to go back around and just connect it there. Go in and then make a little kind of loop back into that original top arch. And then that's going to be the top part of that horn. Now the other horn is on the other side of his head, so we don't see quite as much of it. It's going to come out from the side of his head, and it's not going to go out as far as this horn. It's going to go out a little back. So I go from this horn a little up and back to the right. Maybe draw a dot, and then this dot I'm going to draw a line, kind of like an upside down arch, or about the same type of an angle, the same type of shape that's on the other horn right underneath it. And that's going to be the bottom part of the horn. Now I'm going to go ahead and draw the top part of the horn, just curve that around and bring it back in to his head. And stop the line right there. And those are his horns. And one last detail in his face, he needs a nostril so he can breathe. And there it is. Now down here on his belly, we're going to add in some of those squiggle lines up and down because he's got all that shaggy fur there on his belly. And he also needs a tail. So back here from the end of the back, from the far right hand edge of this back circle, you're just going to add in a kind of gently squiggling line, and then make another gently squiggling line to make the other side of the tail, and then some lines going down to make that nice pom-pom at the end of his tail. And that's basically it. That's your basic shape for your bull. Now I'm going to do a little bit of shading. So you can add in the shading. Don't forget to go in and erase some of those lines. Oh, and actually you can erase these lines here also. And you can erase that line. So you can erase some of those lines that you don't need, but they helped us to build the shape of the bull. So this bull is out on the plain, and he's got sunlight coming down from above him. I'll just draw in the sun since we've done that before. So we know our light's coming from kind of up above. So you're going to give him some shading underneath. So this part underneath his neck is going to be pretty dark and pretty shaded. So I'm just going to shade that in. I'm going to use my pencil and darken it in. But then the top part of his shoulder there, it's going to get lots of light because it's sticking out more. This part's going to be shaded in a little bit. And the bottom of his face is going to get shading. And so you're going to start out really dark where it's going to have the most shadow, and then push your pencil. So you'll push your pencil really hard where you want it to be dark, and then you push your pencil less hard when you want the shadows to start lightening up. So you can go from really dark by pushing on your pencil hard to really light by pushing on your pencil really gently. That's how you make those shadows. And I'm going to shade in on his ear a little bit and behind his ear and on the bottom side of the horn. Bottom side of that horn. And under his belly here, it's going to be nice and dark, lots of nice dark shading. I'm going to do this kind of quickly, but I want you to take a little bit more time with it and really do a good job with your shading and make nice dark lines, nice dark shading, and then fade out to light shading. So it's going to be nice and dark under his chest. And I'm going to fade out much lighter. Now there's going to be a little bit of shading up on his back where it starts to dip down after that big bump. So I'm going to do a little bit of shading up there. And again, so it's going to go from a very dark shadow out to a light shadow, then out to nothing. A little bit of shadow here on his rump. And shadow on, so all of his legs are going to get shadows on this side of it. Sun's coming from that way, so it's going to be a nice dark shadow on the right side of each of his legs. So we're going to start with the other side of his rump here, and turn your paper if you need to, because that will make it easier to draw or to add in that shading there. So nice dark shadow there on the back of his rump and down his leg. So I'm going quickly here, but do take your time to get nice dark shadows and control your pencil and control the darks and lights. And shadow on this side of his leg. Dark to light shadows. Dark to light shadows. And last leg. Again, dark to light shadows. Then you can also put a little bit of shadow on his tail. maybe some shadow in that pom-pom at the end. Make one side a little darker than the other. And a little bit of shadow right under his rump there. Get all that nice and shaded in. And even actually a little shadow up here as the sun's hitting the top side, and then that side of him gets a little bit of shadow too. And there you have your bull. All right, so really good job, wonderful. And I have just a little bit of homework for you. And I'm going to send this homework to Miss Cheryl for you to work on also. So here's your homework. I want you to draw a bull head. So I want you to just make a line drawing. This time, don't worry about the shading, but I want you to make a line drawing looking at this bull head and really think about the shapes that we have here. So it's a little bit of a different drawing than what we just drew, but it's kind of the same basic idea. So the head is kind of a pear shape, and then the shoulders and the rest of his body would be the start of a circle back there. So you can think of it maybe as a half circle. Or just look at the lines and see the way that the lines go, and really work on getting those shapes really accurately, and think about the curving arches of the horns, and add in the eye, maybe a smile because he's a happy bull. All right, so I hope you have a really great week, and I had a fabulous time drawing bull with you. All right, and I will see you next time. Looking forward to it. Bye-bye.